Hey everyone, today we're doing the Epic of Gilgamesh. I'm going to show you how astrotheology played a part in that too. This being, I believe, the oldest of all the texts we've done so far. So let's go into the 12 signs. Aquarius is the first sign that I talk about, which is represented by the man with the water pitcher. Whenever you hear son of man, man, baptism, water pitcher, fountain, stream, river, pond, lake, creek, you're talking about Aquarius. Pisces is the sign of the two fish in the water. So all the previous water examples apply as well. Now, Aquarius is an air sign, but because there's water in it, astrotheologically, you could be talking about Aquarius. Aries is the ram, and in Aries you have March 21st, which is the spring equinox. It's a 12-hour day, 12-hour night. It's also the Passover, or the passing over of the sun over the equator and back on its way to its height in the summer solstice. In Christianity, the passing over is changed and it's called the resurrection of God's son. So whenever you hear ram, lamb, shepherd, ram's horn, Jews, Jewish people, Aries, Jews are the people of Aries, you're talking about Aries. Taurus is the bull. When you see the sky and you see Taurus during the season where it's supposed to be, you know you need to put the plow on the bull so that you can plant the seed so you can harvest in Virgo and Libra. So whenever you hear bull, ox, calf, or cow being the female bull, Taurus, you're talking about Taurus. Gemini is the twins. It's the story of Castor and Pollux Troy, whose sister was Helen of Troy, the story of Achilles. So whenever you hear twins or brothers, they're talking about Gemini. Cancer is the crab. It's the sideways moving creature. So just as the sun rises a degree on its axis starting December 25th, it stops on June 21st. Then for 3 days, it rises to the same degree, moving sideways. And then on June 25th, it lowers a degree. The crab in the ancient Egyptian time was known as the scarab. Okay, so whenever you hear crab or beetle, you're talking about Cancer. Then Leo is the king. The lion is the king of the jungle. The ruling planet of Leo is actually the sun. So whenever you hear lion, lioness, or cub, you're talking about Leo. Virgo is the woman holding the wheat stalk. Remember before you said that you plant in Taurus? Well, the virgins would cultivate the wheat in Virgo in order to make the bread for the year. So whenever you hear virgin, wheat, grain, seed, barley, you're talking about Virgo. Libra is the justice, it's the scales, it's the balance, it's the just one. The reason it's the justice is because it judges God's sun as it passes over the fall equinox and begins its descent into winter, into cold, into death. The Jews always celebrate their new year around the fall equinox. Libra is also wine season, which is when you plant for the grapes in Taurus, you could press the wine here. It's also olive oil season. You press the olives too for oil. So whenever you hear law, judge, justice, the just one, divorce, marriage, court, wine vineyard, wine press grapes, olives, olive oil, you're talking about Libra. Scorpio is the scorpion. He's the betrayer. When a scorpion bites you, it leaves an imprint in your skin that looks like a pair of lips. That's why the mafia has the kiss of death. And it's why Jesus was betrayed by Judas with a kiss. So the sun is judged in Libra and it's betrayed in Scorpio. Then in Sagittarius, this is where the bow and the arrow shoot the sun and inflict further punishment on the sun. This is where the sun dies. Why? Because on December 21st, the sun is at its lowest point. It cannot rise any lower. It's dead. It's the dead of winter. It remains at the lowest level for 3 days, which is why Jesus was dead for 3 days. When on December 25th of the birth of God's son, it rises another degree and starts to make its way back up to the top. So whenever you hear horse, bow and arrow, spear, horseman, you're talking about Sagittarius. Capricorn finally is the goat because he likes to climb the mountain. So Capricorn is actually at the bottom of the zodiac wheel. And it starts the metaphorical climb up the zodiac wheel a degree a day. The sun does every day until it hits Cancer. So let's jump right into Gilgamesh. Book 1, surpassing all kings, powerful and tall beyond all others, violent, splendid, a wild bull of a man. The bull is Taurus and the man is the sign of the man, Aquarius. Is this how you want your king to rule? Should a shepherd savage his own flock? The shepherd and the flock refer to Aries. Jesus is known as the Lamb of God or the Good Shepherd. That's when the sun is in Aries. He drank clear water from the water holes, kneeling beside the antelope and the deer. Clear water is Aquarius, the man with the water pitcher. Pisces, the other water sign, has fish, so it's not clear water. The antelope deer is the star Mriga, which is located in Orion, which is located in Gemini, which is the other sign of the man or the men. The trapper found Shamahat, Ishtar's priestess, and they went off into the wilderness. wilderness. For 3 days they walked. Again, the 3 days. It's always 3 days. On the third day, they reached the water hole. Shamhat sounds a lot like Shamash, which means the sun in Hebrew. They went off for 3 days, or the 3 days that the sun was dead. On the third day, they reached the watering hole, or Aquarius, the water. You will see young men dressed in their splendor in the finest linen and embroidered wool, brilliantly colored, with fringed shawls and wide belts. Young men are the sign of Aquarius, the sign of the man. The wool comes from the sheep in Aries, and the belt comes from Orion's belt, which borders Gemini. Aquarius, Aries, and Gemini are every other sign. They hop a sign. Shamash, the sun god, loves him. Ea, the god of water. So I mentioned Shamash before. In Judaism, the Shamash is the candle that you light on the menorah that lights up the rest of them up. Ea is the god of water. In Chaucer's time, Ea actually meant water. This is something called the Unicorn Tapestries, which, if you look into the history of it, was bought by the Rockefellers 120 years ago for $1 million. These are tapestries. It's a Middle English set of 7 tapestries that were created. It's about the hunt and death of the unicorn and the rebirth. This is the story of Jesus. Rockefeller bought them in the early 1900s for $1 million back then. They're in a museum now. Each tapestry is an EA or an AE or an EA sewn into it. 3 of the 4 tapestries have water in them. That's 2, 3, and 4. Marveling, the shepherds crowded around him. What an enormous man, they whispered. How much like Gilgamesh he is, tall and strong with muscles like rock. They led him to their table. They put bread and beer in front of him. The shepherd represents Aries. The enormous man is the enormous man in the sky, Aquarius. Bread and beer come from the wheat and barley that you get in Virgo. When the shepherds lay down, Enkidu went out with a sword and a spear. He chased off lions and wolves. All night he guarded the flocks. He stayed awake and guarded them while the shepherds slept. Shepherd is Aries. The spear represents the bow and the arrow in Sagittarius. Sagittarius has December 21st, which is the death, or the death of the sun, or the death in general. In the Bible, the 2 most important deaths occur with a spear. In Jesus, the spear of destiny hits him in the side to check if he's still alive. The other is Cain and Abel, the first murder. Although, yes, Cain hits him over the head with a rock, the word Cain in Hebrew means spear. Lions are Leo, and the wolf is Lupus, which borders Libra and Scorpio. The flocks are the ram, and the lamb is Aries. The wolf is Lupus, which borders Libra. The flocks are Aries. Those are opposing signs. The priest will bless the young couple. The guests will rejoice. The bridegroom will step aside, and the virgin will wait in the marriage bed for Gilgamesh. Well, the virgin represents Virgo, the virgin. They never refer to them as women. It's always virgin. Sometimes they refer to them as women, actually. But for the most part, why would you refer to somebody by whether or not they've had sex? That's, to this day, an issue. In Islam, in Christianity, even in Judaism. It's an issue, but it goes back to the fact that Virgo is virgin. You were raised in the mountains with your own hands. You have killed marauding lions and wolves. Lion is Leo, and the wolf is Lupus. Oh, Lord Shamash, glorious sun. See, they're mentioning the fact that Shamash is the sun now. Enkidu listened. Tears filled his eyes. He and Gilgamesh clasped hands like brothers. They took their weapons, their massive axes, their massive knives, their quivers and bows. So the brothers are brothers in Gemini, and the quivers and the bows are Sagittarius with the bow and arrows. Those are opposing signs in the zodiac. They had traveled for just 3 days and nights. Again, 3 days. A 6 weeks journey for ordinary men. When the sun was setting, they dug a well. They filled their water skins with fresh water. Gilgamesh climbed to the mountaintop. He poured out flour as an offering. There is a mention of 3 days again, where the sun walks sideways. They dug a well and filled it with fresh water, or Aquarius, or Pisces, the water. He poured out the flour, which you would get in Virgo. Pisces and Virgo are opposing signs in the zodiac. So this one was actually referring to Pisces. Remember, you got to look for the patterns in order to discern the difference between Aquarius and Pisces when it comes to astrotheology. I saw a fierce eagle with a lion's head. It floated down towards me like a huge cloud. It grimaced at me. Terrifying flames shot from its mouth. Then beside me, I saw a young man with an unearthly glow. The eagle is Scorpio with the head of Leo. Beside him, he saw a young man, or Aquarius, the man sign. Incidentally, I just noticed Aquarius and Leo are opposing signs. I was wrestling with a gigantic bull. Its bellow shattered the ground and raised clouds of dust that darkened the sky. It pinned me down. It crushed me. I felt its breath on my face. Then suddenly a man pulled me up, put his arms around me, and gave me fresh water from his water skin. Well, the bull is Taurus, the bull. When suddenly a man, Aquarius, pulled him up and gave him water from his water skin, or Aquarius, the man with the water pitcher. If you kill me, you will call down the gods' wrath, and their judgment will be severe. Well, the judgment is Libra. We know that. When he returned to Great Walled Uruk, Gilgamesh bathed. He washed his matted hair and shook it over his back. He took off his filthy, blood-splattered clothes, put on a tunic of the finest wool, wrapped himself in a glorious gold-trimmed purple robe, and fastened it with a wide fringe belt, then put on his crown. Gilgamesh is the man sign in Aquarius. The finest wool is Aries, okay, because the wool comes from a sheep, and sheep is Aries, the lamb. And the belt is Orion's belt, which is between Taurus and Gemini. And of course, it's gold trimmed because the sun is gold. And I will bless everything that you own. Your goats will bear triplets. Your ewes will twin. Your donkeys will be faster than any mule. Your chariot horses will win every race. Your oxen will be the envy of the world. It's the same animals they keep talking about. How many different animals are they neglecting by only talking about these animals? Because they're constellations, or they're stars in the sky. The goats are Capricorn. The ewes will twin, or Gemini, the twins. The donkey is Acellus Borealis, which is located in Cancer. The horses are Sagittarius and the oxen are Taurus. There's 5 signs. Well, 4 signs and a constellation in this 3.5 sentence passage. You loved the lion, matchless in strength. Then you changed. You dug 7 pits from him. And when he fell, you left him to die. You loved the hot-blooded, war-bold stallion. The lion is Leo, the lion, and the stallion is the horse, or Sagittarius. You loved the shepherd, the master of the flocks, who every day would bake bread for you and would bring you a fresh slaughtered roasted lamb. Then you changed and you touched him. He became a wolf. And now his own shepherd boys drive him away, and his own dogs snap at his hairy thighs. The shepherd, or the good shepherd, as Jesus is known as in Aries. He's also known as the Lamb of God. The bread is Virgo, the lady with the wheat stalk. The roasted lamb is Aries. The wolf is the constellation Lupus, and the dog is Canis Major. Incidentally, the word dog backwards is God. And the reason behind it is it goes back to Anubis, the dog who was worshipped in ancient times. Ishtar said, "Please, Father, I beg you, give me the bull of heaven just for a little while." The bull of heaven is obviously Taurus, the bull. A creature appeared with a lion's head. His face was ghastly. He had a lion's paws, an eagle's talons, and wings. He flew at me. He seized me by the hair. I tried to struggle, but with one blow, he capsized me like a raft. He leaped upon me. Like a bull, he trampled my bones. The lion is Leo, the eagle is Scorpio, and the bull is Taurus. I've mentioned before how the eagle is Scorpio, by the way. It's an evolved form. May the bear, okay, so this one has a ton. May the bear mourn you, the hyena, the panther, the leopard, the deer, the jackal, the lion, the wild bull, gazelle. May the rivers, Ulaya and Euphrates mourn you, whose sacred waters we offered to the gods. May the young men of the great world Uruk mourn you, who cheered when we slaughtered the bull of heaven. May the farmer mourn you who praised you to the sky in his harvest song. May the shepherd mourn you who brought you milk. May the brewer mourn you who made you fine beer. May Ishtar's priestess mourn you who massaged you with your own sweet-smelling oil. May the wedding guests mourn you like their own brother. There's 17 signs in this one pet. The bear is Ursa Major, the great bear. The hyena is El-Tanin, the hyena, and the third knot in Draco's tail. The panther is Elanthiapida. The panther is made up of 26 stars. The leopard is Camelopardalis. Camelopardalis refers to a camel or a leopard. The giraffe used to be called the camel leopard. Riga, or the deer, is located in Orion. Lion is Leo. Wild bull is Taurus. The rivers are Pisces. The water sign that signifies water. The bull of heaven is Taurus. The shepherd is Aries, as previously mentioned. The milk comes from the Milky Way galaxy, whose center is in Sagittarius. The brewer and the fine beer is from barley, which is harvested in Virgo. Ishtar's priestess is Virgo, the woman. The sweet-smelling oil is the oil from the Libra. the mourning like their own brother is Gemini the brothers. Those are your 17 signs in one passage. This is the basis of every book that you could find that was ever considered a holy book or an ancient relic. This is the basis of it all. Beloved friend, swift stallion, wild deer, leopard ranging in the wildness. Stallion is Sagittarius, the horse. The deer is Mriga, which is located in Orion. And Camelopardalis is in Gemini, the camel leopard. Camelopardalis is in Gemini. It references camel, camelos, or pardalis, which means leopard. He gathered fattened oxen and sheep. He butchered them. He piled them high for Enkidu, his beloved friend. The ox is Taurus and the sheep are Aries. Those are connecting signs on the zodiac. Finally, he arrived at the two high mountains called the Twin Peaks. Their summits touched the vault of heaven. Their bases reach down to the underworld. They keep watch over the sun's departure and its return. Two scorpion people were posted at the entrance. The twins are Gemini. The vault of heaven is Gemini. The scorpion people posted at the entrance, watching over the sun's departure. Scorpio is the last sign that's in the fall, the sun's departure in winter. They sailed without stopping for 3 days and nights. Again, the 3 days and the nights. Why is it always 3 days? Why is Jesus always dead for 3 days? Why is Jonah in the whale or the body of the great fish for 3 days? Why in the Midrash does Abraham kill Isaac and he remains dead for 3 days? It's all about the sun and what it does. There's only 6 days during the year that the sun doesn't either go up a degree or down a degree. Okay, it's from June 21st to the 24th, or it's from December 21st to the 24th. Okay, those are your 3 days. They're not ordinary men. The bucket carriers brought 3,000 gallons of oil. Each day I slaughtered bull for my workmen. I slaughtered sheep. I gave them barrels of beer, ale, and wine, and they drank it like river water. The oil is Libra, where the olives are pressed into oil. The bulls are Taurus, the sheep are Aries. Those are connecting signs. Libra and Aries are opposing signs. The beer and ale come from Virgo, where the barley is harvested and beer is made, and the wine is Libra. The river water is Pisces, the sign of the water. On Mount Nimush, the ship ran aground. The mountain held it and would not release it. For 6 days and 7 nights, the mountain would not release it. On the 7th day, I brought out a dove and set it free. The dove flew off, then back to the ship because there was no place to land. I waited and I brought a swallow out and set it free. The swallow flew out and then flew back to the ship because there was no place to land. I waited. Then I brought out a raven and set it free. The raven flew off, and because the water had receded, it found a branch. It sat there, it ate, it flew off, it didn't return. Just in case you didn't think that Noah and the ark was the original story. It was ripped directly from here. Okay? Everything from the peace dove, everything from sending the raven, everything. So I told you that one would be fun. So next we have the Code of Hammurabi. We're just going to keep going, guys. We're just going to keep going. And I'm still working on a couple new ones too. But for the most part, I hope you guys are starting to see an undeniable pattern forming here. So thanks again, guys, and I'll talk to you soon.